So any insight into the fact that BTC is less volatile than the traditional markets the last couple of months? It is definitely an interesting situation. Well, the thing is, after expansions, after like, see the move down here. Let me just change this to a single chart. You know, after expansions, you normally get this period of consolidation, right? And obviously we had an expansion here to the downside, a very large expansion. You can see the length of it right there. So it's very normal, you know, after a large period of expansion like that, to go into a consolidation phase. I think the fact that, you know, liquidity in the entire world has been drying up to a certain extent. I know, like, if we look back there, you can see how small the candles were, but you know, the price was what are we doing there? We were 3.5k, 4k. We'll even call it 4k. You know, the price is you know, 4 to 5x from here, from down here. So these candles do look smaller. It's difficult to say if you know, the volatility was lower back here or not. I know some days it was, of course, because it was really bad back then, and it was also really bad here. I remember there was these 2 periods in a row, really bad, big drop, really bad again, you know, volatility wise. So, but it is very normal, you know, after you get a big drop, but the world economy obviously getting bad and less money sloshing about at this period of time, and that's very normal when, you know, when things get bad in the world. You know, you only have to look back at the Nasdaq, for example. Maybe we could do that. Just looking, so Nasdaq, you know, even if we go back here, is a weekly chart. Like the volatility, it was poor. Like it's not an up, it's a choppy uptrend. Oh, move that now. I probably should have went to a daily. You know, if we look at the bottom of the Nasdaq right here, this is the very bottom. But apart from this one day, you know, all of the rest of it was very choppy action. And then you had a second day here and a third day. There was like 3, maybe 4 decent candles there over the course of that year. And it really just chopped its way out of it. So after the huge drop, if we look, that was the largest drop in the history of the stock market at that point. I mean, I think it was tied up there with the Great Depression, but it's up there. But after such a huge drop, volatility got very, very low, and we just chopped our way out. You know, so it brings us back here to you know, after a big drop, the volatility has just died down, and that's very normal. But periods of low volatility bring about periods of high volatility, so there should be a big expansion very soon. And the question that, you know, nobody has a crystal ball, but is that expansion to the upside or to the downside? You can see here, see the thing, the bear markets have always come in 2 phases, really. You can see that this one was a 70% drop, and then we chopped about for a long time, and as we got closer and closer and closer to the edge, volatility dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped until we got the expansion again. You could say BTC has done something similar. Of course, it's on a smaller scale in a way, but you know, volatility is dropping more as we're getting into this the end here of the pattern. So if we look at the stock market, you know, since Bitcoin has been in this range down the bottom, the stock market has you know, had moves up and dropped and moved up again and dropped again. Well, this would obviously because there is more liquidity, there is more buying, but also Bitcoin is, as we talked about, in the process of how do I want to say it? In the process of digesting the large move down. Okay, the move in the stock market wasn't down as much as this. So, you know, personally, I don't really think too much of it, because the fact that Bitcoin had already dropped so much, the stock market was in the process of dropping. You could say that that it is gaining a little bit of relative strength here, you know, and the stock market still dropped. There is the argument to be made that it gained a little bit of relative strength, but because, like, if you actually think about it, and the fact that we had already dropped so much, you could say that this was relatively weaker because it dropped faster and harder. So there really is two ways of looking at it. So I don't really take too much into it. I think it's just doing its thing. I think it's now making up and digesting the large gain. And hopefully we start to get moves soon, because obviously the market is terrible in here. It's been brutal for the last while. There is signs of a bit of light though, a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Technically we are still bullish on Bitcoin. We had a bullish monthly stop hunt, we have a bullish 3-month stop hunt. Can that fail? Of course, but we're getting this move up again. We took liquidity down in here. So far we've not come back down into that, but we've took liquidity here. This is the liquidity grab candle, so that doesn't have to get filled for a period of time. That can stay unfilled because there's less liquidity in there. So last week we had this nice green candle. It's a decent candle. Doesn't mean we can't come back down, but it's the bulls are trying here to hold up. If we look at the 2-week chart as well, it's a small doji candle, but it is exactly, it's a stop hunt candle as well. It is exactly what you want to see if you're a bull. It kind of means in the situation that there's a good chance that a dip here could be a buy back up, right? It could be. The bears will say that this is a bit of a bearish pattern, a bear flag, that this is going to roll over, which is very possible as well. It's basically, we are stuck in chop here, and the market is waiting for a resolution. As I always say, if Bitcoin is red on a week or 2 week, you always have to be more cautious in longing anything, any altcoins or anything, because there can be more pressure. There can be more sell side pressure. Bitcoin deep red on a 9-week, monthly, it's holding. It rejected there off the monthly again, though. That's a rejection off the monthly open. So it needs to prove itself and get back above that. Personally, I don't really like this setup. Could it hold? Yes, but I don't really like it. Like, when I look at this, I feel like because the lack of strength here, because the large sell pressure there, because this is likely to be a low volume. Let's look at that actually. Yeah, well, it's now not the low volume area. It would have been a low volume area in the past, but you can see that we have now grown in volume, but there's still, below that is still the low volume area, and that is in here, as you can see. So I don't really like this setup for a number of reasons. Can we get a bounce and a fake out bounce? Yes, but it just feels that at some point we should come down here and fill this volume. Also because the large drop, because of the lack of strength, there is multiple factors, and obviously the world economy and all of that sort of stuff as well. But it's tricky to know, is this rolling over right now, or do we get a bounce first? It's been that choppy that it's not been easy to conclusively say. Many fake out signals and all the rest, and with volatility being so low, now that we have put in the deviation, these are very important, right? See these two here right now. Let's take away the point of control. We got back above the point of control, by the way. That's a good start for the bulls. If you want to be a bull, that's what you want to see. But these two pivot points right now are going to be very important in my eyes going forward, and this reminds me of the 6K area. Until we get out of this area, this is technically going to be a choppy area, I would assume. If we go back to the 6K area, now it wasn't the same, but we did get 2 pivots, right? And a break of the pivots, that was determining the trend. Okay, so you can see the pivot to the low, the crash down low, and then we came up and had a pivot on top, and it was 2 pivots to work with, and it was important when they broke. And we are sitting basically in a similar situation here right now, that if we break this, we might work our way up into the red 200, right? If somehow we can get up here, there might be a case to be made that this is going to come back up above here, and I would suggest that tops out and then later comes down. Okay, that's what I would think if we get up there first. you know, but time is going to tell. Time will have to tell. We're still red on the week now, red on a 2 week. It's only Monday. If this starts to flip green or even gets close to it, there's an argument to be made here that you know, Bitcoin can be a buy because of the bullish monthly stop hunt. And if it's about to flip green or flips green, you know, price has come down and maybe taken a bit of liquidity below before trying to move back up. If you want to be aggressive, well, it's technically, maybe it's a buy down here on these retests. Price is still above, well, it's breaking out here. This is a breakout on the 1 hour. It is above all the 1 hour moving averages, and it is, you know, if this pops up and flips green or today or tomorrow, well, that would be green on the week, and then we would move. So you know, if you wanted a knife catch down here, you could do that. Actually, Bitcoin is just it's moving right now actually, but Bitcoin has just had a bullish hourly stop hunt. That can be good. What, yeah, 936, okay. Yeah, so Bitcoin has just had a 4 hour stop hunt as well. When you get a strong candle up like this green candle right here, you want this candle to hold. You want the lows of this candle to hold and try and break up. It's a daily candle and a 12 hour candle.